It's going to, well, 5 minutes is pretty quick in the land of the LASD because they're coming. Okay, once again, thank you very much for joining us here today for this important press conference. My name is Commander Eddie Rivero. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Sheriff's Department. Joining us tonight, we have Sheriff Jim McDonald. We have Sheriff's Homicide Lieutenant Eddie Hernandez. We have Mr. David Lynn, the father of our two young victims. The family attorney, Rose Sy. Also joining us is the Chief of Police for Arcadia, Mr. Robert Guthrie. Captain Steve Katz from the LA Sheriff's Homicide Bureau. Captain Bill Song from the Crescenta Valley Sheriff's Station. Lieutenant Roy Nakamura from the Arcadia Police Department. Acting Assistant Director in Charge for the FBI, Jim Strike. Special Agent in Charge for the FBI, Sean Reagan. And like I mentioned, we'll have questions and answers after the 5 presenters are done. Sheriff?
Well, thank you, and thank you for being here with us today. We're here to announce that the suspect in one of our county's most tragic cases is back in the United States and will face trial on multiple murder charges. To bring us to this day, a number of different law enforcement agencies were involved in what was a complex, very complicated procedure, and I'd like to just acknowledge them now. The FBI in Los Angeles, in Hong Kong, the International Operations Center in Washington, D.C., the Hong Kong Police Force, Homeland Security Investigation Attaché Office in Hong Kong, the U.S. Department of Justice, U.S. Department of State, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office, the Arcadia Police Department, and of course, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Homicide Bureau. Tremendous teamwork and a commitment to our mission and to this case in particular. Just a short while ago, Dayan Shi landed at LAX escorted by LASD Homicide Bureau detectives and FBI agents and was transported to our South Los Angeles Sheriff's Station for booking. Our justice system worked diligently for 85 days, traveled more than 7,200 miles crossing the Pacific Ocean and the international date line to bring this case home to Los Angeles, where Dayan Shi will face prosecution. It wasn't easy, and some might say, given the distance between Los Angeles and Hong Kong, the diplomatic and political considerations, this was a daunting task. But justice will be served for the young teenage victims and a family shattered by tragedy. And we're joined by members of the family today. Our sincere condolences, and thank you for having the strength to be here with us today. The men and women of the Sheriff's Department join me in extending our condolences to the family of 15-year-old Anthony Lynn and his brother, 16-year-old William. They remain constant in the minds of all of our investigators. I want to thank the FBI for their experience in facilitating this case, both here in Los Angeles and in Hong Kong, the District Attorney's Extradition Unit detectives, and the Hong Kong Police for acting upon our request to arrest Shi at the Hong Kong airport. My thanks also to Chief Bob Guthrie of the Arcadia Police Department, who are working so closely with our homicide detectives, and you'll be hearing from him in just a few minutes. Today's success was born out of a tragic loss of life and provides a great example of what can be achieved when local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies work together to better serve all of the residents of Los Angeles County. I'd now like to introduce LASD Homicide Detective Lieutenant Eddie Hernandez, who will provide more details on the investigation and how we were able to bring the suspect back to the United States. Eddie.
Thank you, Sheriff. This investigation began January 22nd, 2016, when Sheriff's Homicide Bureau detectives were asked to respond to the 400 block of Fairview Avenue, Arcadia, to assist the Arcadia Police Department in investigating a double murder. Shortly after learning that Dayan Shin was
was suspected of being responsible for the murders. And we also learned that he had boarded a flight, international flight, to Hong Kong. Detectives enlisted the assistance of the FBI, the extradition unit of the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office, and the Department of Justice. As the investigation progressed, investigators obtained a Ramey warrant for the suspect while he was in flight to Hong Kong. Agents began working with the FBI's legal attaché in Hong Kong, who worked with their counterparts at the Hong Kong police force to have the suspect arrested when he arrived. The FBI, the Office of International Affairs, drafted a request for a provisional arrest warrant that was issued by the Office of International Affairs. The suspect landed in Hong Kong and was arrested. The suspect made 2 different court appearances in a Hong Kong court where both times he indicated he wanted to surrender to the United States. The District Attorney's Office Extradition Unit submitted formal extradition documents to the Office of International Affairs. And as stated earlier this week, 2 detectives from the Sheriff's Homicide Bureau and 2 special agents from the FBI flew to Hong Kong and took custody of suspect Shi from the Hong Kong police force. Our focus now shifts to assisting the District Attorney's Office in the prosecution of Diane Shi for the double murder of his young nephews and for the attempted murder of his wife. Chief.
Thank you. Like Sheriff McDonald, on behalf of the City of Arcadia, the Arcadia Police Department, I too would like to express once again our condolences to the Lynn family for their horrible and tragic loss. I'd also like to begin by thanking Sheriff Jim McDonald and the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department for the support, assistance, and unwavering commitment they have shown in helping us bring justice to the victims and families affected by this horrible, horrible tragedy. The entire Arcadia community was devastated by what happened to 2 young, innocent brothers earlier this year on January 22nd. And since that day, we, alongside our law enforcement partners from Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, the FBI, the DOJ, the State Department, Homeland Security, and other law enforcement agencies have worked tirelessly together to see this day through. Results like this, and to be quite frank, this quickly, recognize just how important cooperative law enforcement partnerships are at all levels of government, and to what extent we will go together, even internationally, to bring those responsible for such heinous crimes in our communities to justice. We will do everything in our power and within our resources to hold those accountable that do our communities such devastating harm. I'd also like to take a moment to express my appreciation for the community support we've received these past several weeks in many different ways and areas. Enough cannot be said about the importance of community involvement and the willingness of communities to work with local police in keeping cities like Arcadia and others throughout our county and state as safe as possible. Again, in closing, I'd like to thank Sheriff McDonald, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, the police officers and detectives from my organization, and all those who work so hard here to help make a difference for both the City of Arcadia and those most intimately affected by this tragic case. Thank you.
Okay. Let me make a short speech. First of all, I want to thank you the people in the community. So especially in the Arcadia area. So in the past two and a half months, so we got a tremendous support from the people all over the place and from Arcadia and also Arcadia High School. So it's very, very difficult for me and for my wife in the past 2.5 months. So day and night, every moment is a pain for us. So as you can see, so we spend our effort, we use our love to raise these 2 boys. So just one night, so they are gone. They are gone forever. It's really hard for us. But fortunately, we got a lot of support and a lot of helps from the people like Pastor Terrence and Mr. Rose Shield, and some other people. And also, I want a special thank you for the FBI and local law enforcement agents, and bring this the evil back to here, face the justice. I want to thank you, everybody.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rose Tsai. I'm the attorney for Mr. David Lin and Ms. Vicky Huang. They are the parents for those two adorable children that you saw in the pictures. These are two wonderful, wonderful young brothers. They were happy. They were studious. They like to volunteer. They did lots of good work, not only at school, they did lots of volunteer work. They had a very, very happy family life. This was all shattered because of this tragic incident. Well, first of all, just like what Sheriff McDonald mentioned earlier, the extradition back and the arrest of the defendant, De Yunxi, took the joint efforts of many, many officers, like the one behind us. So we'd like to take the opportunity to express our appreciation for their hard work and efforts. And also, we have been communicating with also representatives from the DA's office, and also thank representatives from the FBI, from the International Affairs Office, and many, many people who have helped and supported to provide support to the family who are in their most difficult time. And I also like to take this opportunity very quickly. While the extradition proceeding was pending, lots of people from our community, including the media friends, especially the Chinese media, many of you are very concerned and greatly appreciate your support and concern, and they've been inquiring about the status. And we greatly appreciate your understanding that we're not able to provide much detail before today. So I just want to use the opportunity to say thank you. 特别我希望特别感谢我们的中文媒体朋友们，还有我们社区的朋友们，因为在这个遣送的阶段呢，因为为了要让这个遣送的过程顺利，所以很多细节没有办法跟大家报告透露，所以呢，感谢你们的理解。那在今天之前呢，我们没有办法透露这个细节，所以非常感谢你们的这个热心的报道、关注跟支持，也希望你们继续报道、关心跟支持这个案件。So last but not least. Mrs. Lin cannot be here today. Obviously, that she's still recovering. It takes Mr. Lin lots of courage, lots of courage. I've been talking to them quite frequently, so it took him lots of courage to come here today. So with all of your support, that he's able to stand here and to even make the speech that he just said from his heart earlier. So we greatly appreciate that. And so once again, I want to thank each one of you. Who have given the support to the Lin family. And overall, we want defendant De Yunxi to face the most severe punishment under the judicial system of the United States. So thank you again for all your support. And I believe Pastor Shea has been recognized. Thank you for your church, the Arcadia Chinese Baptist Church support that you've been given to the Lin family as well. And many other people I have not mentioned earlier. Once again, thank you very much on behalf of the parents of Anthony and William Lin. Thank you very much for your help and support and care about the two youngsters who lost their life. We don't want them to lose their life in vain, so we want to see justice done. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll open it up for questions. Please bear in mind, though, and I ask for your patience, that this is an ongoing criminal investigation. The prosecution lays ahead of us, so we may not be able to answer some of the questions that you may have. But I'll take it. We'll try and run with it.
What might the time frame look like on these initial court appearances here in LA County?
You want to talk about that? Okay.
He's actually being booked at South Los Angeles Station he's going to be held on no bail warrant. He will appear in Pasadena court on Monday. Any other questions?
It's been a few months since the arrest over there. Could someone talk about the difficulty of trying to make that happen, the extradition from all the way halfway around the world back over here?
Well, I think, yeah, it was extremely difficult. A lot of governments involved, a lot of different procedures, policies and procedures, a lot of legal steps that were taken. That's why it was really important when we first found out that he was in flight to Hong Kong to get the district attorney's office, who the extradition unit that morning, which would have been Saturday morning, started making phone calls to their DOJ counterparts to get the ball rolling, and it started from there.
Yeah, the world has become a smaller place. The message that certainly we want to send is that we, law enforcement agencies, federal, state, local, and international, we work very closely together. I think this is an example of what can be done when we do demonstrate that close working relationship, and that for anybody who thinks they can seek refuge somewhere else after committing a crime here, we're going to do our very best to be able to ensure that does not happen. Thank you.
Describe his demeanor when he was apprehended and brought back, and he said that he expressed that he wanted to be brought back.
Yeah, my understanding is that in two separate interviews, he expressed a willingness to be transported back to the United States for his trial. The question is to his demeanor. I don't know that we can answer that specifically. We weren't there at the time. Thank you. No, no.
Does the episode have the time coming to him?
Yeah, the district attorney will take the case, then evaluate the case, and they'll make that call.
Can you talk about the evidence?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to. I don't know what you can share at this time. Probably very little because of the ongoing investigation and prosecution.
Is there anything on what is notified?
Yeah, if you would, yeah.
Just briefly on the evidence. There's a lot of forensic evidence that includes biological evidence like blood and blood smears and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into specifics of it, but the other thing is your second question was the motive. That's a little unclear right now. We've learned that there were some divorce proceedings in effect, but we don't know if that was what triggered him.
You mean his wife was?
Correct.
Condition of what?
You know what? We reached out to her, and she's not here, right?
No.
Yeah. So she decided not to come, or is unavailable to come. And honestly, we haven't talked to her about where she's at right now, because we were focused on him coming back. The investigator that reached out to her the other day, she said she would think about it and see if it would come, but obviously she didn't come.
So either, I don't know if I can answer this question if Mr. Lin doesn't want to speak anymore, but what was the family's relationship with the suspect, and, was there anything that showed that he might be capable of something like this?
Thank you for your question. Just briefly, prior to the incident happen, I think the suspect hasn't been not been a peaceful person. That's all we can speak at this time. Actually, Mr. Lin's family has helped his sister and his this defendant when they decide to come to the United States to reside here. Mr. Lin and Mrs. Lin were in the position to help them to get settled down. So unfortunately, Mr. Lin acted out of his pure love and care for his sister to try to help her in her difficult situation with the domestic dispute with her husband. And the ending, as we know, that by today, that was never expected. And so it was shocking. It was unacceptable. It's very sad. Yeah.
All right, thank you all very much. Oh, you want to show the video?
Yeah, we're gonna hold off until after the family leaves, because they were concerned that they didn't want to see it.
Should we have everybody stand by?
Yeah, everybody knows.
Oh, they know, okay.
Yeah, they know.
Those of you who want to stand by, we're going to play a video clip that you can.
Thanks, Eddie. Oh, I got it. We got to do something about this sound system. It's so making us, yeah.
If Lou, we tried to, SIB tried to get the best one we had.
This is a very hot mic, so you know.
Yeah, this sound system.
I'm so sorry.
We'll play it a couple.
Sorry about that, it's on a loop.
Are you in 5K?